So some people are wondering if this is going to be live or not. I'm like, why would anyone question that? And I think it's because they think Kennedy and Salmons are going to be on the stream because I put them in the thumbnail.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. We have clickbait, guys. Sorry.
So, it was a picture that Anthony took at the conference. I figured I'd use it. Sorry, guys.
So, no, but I did speak to Kennedy earlier, and he does want to do something this week, right? Like, there's so many people that want to do something together, right? So I actually just texted him, dude, I had such great conversations with Michael Hichborn. Like, and I told him, I'm like, Mike, I'm not bringing you on to talk about the CCHD. Like, I don't, everybody hears you do that. I'm like, I want to hear this, like the conversation we're having.
Everyone knows we buy condoms for Africans. We know that.
And I'm not saying that's not important.
No,
like,
of course not.
Like, if he let him do that with more like bigger shows, like, because it'll get more attention and stuff, and we may even address those things. But the conversations we were having about like the church and the anti-church and all those things, like, he is a very deep thinker. He's very smart. I'm telling you, what I realized is, as the talk I gave. So, well, first off, if anybody is new to the channel because you were at the conference, let us know. Like, I want to know if there's new people watching because they were introduced to our channel through me going and giving that talk. I think once the talk goes up on the website, I think then you're going to start to see
on Canceled Priest
a new influx of viewers. But also, John Henry Weston interviewed me after the talk. So, and I had so hi, welcome, Michelle.
There's one already.
So, all right, let's talk about this conference, because this was the first conference I ever went to, not just spoke at, right? Like, I've never been to. I've done retreats.
So you had no idea what to expect at all.
None. I saw the list of speakers and I was like, wow, I don't belong on this list. Like, that was my impression. I'm like, I have no business being on this list.
Well, clearly that's not the case.
No, listen to me. When I tell you, the people were so kind to me, like, and so many people came up to me afterward, encouraged me. And it's like,
other speakers, you mean?
No,
or people in general.
People that watched. Yeah, dude, you don't realize, like, you're up on a panel with, like, it's like trying to play for the major leagues when you're, AAA. It's like your first time out there. And I mean, I'm up on the same panel as Michael Hichborn, John Henry Weston, Abby Johnson, Jesse Romero, Peter Kwasniewski, Brian McCall, like the people that were on this.
You're wrong, by the way. You just blew his pronunciation. You said you were going to get it right.
It's Kwasniewski. Listen to me.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Oh, listen to me. I learned it this weekend. So, and Kennedy will mention you. Kennedy mentioned me twice in his talk, and John Henry Weston mentioned me twice in his talk.
Very nice.
So it was so weird because, like, I didn't belong there. And then, like, I think everybody kind of took me in like a little brother. That's really what happened, right? Like, so, like, it wasn't like they were shouting me out because I said something so profound. It was more like they were encouraging me.
Yep.
And it was like, it really touched me, man. And like when I gave that talk, and then people were coming up to me afterward and they were like, I really enjoyed your talk. Like, it was so encouraging because I really did not know how people were going to take it. Like, I had no idea. I knew I had like decent content, but like, you still don't know how it's going to be. I didn't know if I went too deep. I didn't know how I was going to deliver it. So people were super, super kind. And Kennedy made fun of me. Yeah, of course.
That's just the internet. Like, that's what they do.
But let me tell you something about Kennedy, man. Kennedy, I'm going in and he's giving a talk, Lefebvre, the original Canceled Priest, right? So I'm like, all right, another Lefebvre talk. Dude, Kennedy. Thank you, Chrissy.
Oh, wait. By the way, this one.
Yeah. So, okay. So anybody knew that? Not yet, Mrs. C. It's coming out soon, though. So Molly is asking, is it public? So it's coming out. So what they're doing is starting Monday, they're going to release 2 a day, I believe. So I was in the first day. So it may make the first week. It may be like Monday next week. I was like one of the later afternoon talks on the first day. So, this is my little sister Chrissy's Give Send Go. So she's going to be Passion as None. All right. So what happened? I was actually talking about my sister over the weekend and all that. So, all right, after I give the talk, everybody is super nice to me, right? But the best part of this conference was not even the speakers. They were amazing. And it was the way Father Laval did it was they were half-hour talks.
That's good.
Dude, you get tedious after an hour. Like it's like you're sitting there for an hour, and I'm talking like even like a good speaker. It's like an hour is a long time to sit there for a talk. So having a 30-minute talk made every single speaker condense their message down and have nothing but fire, right? From beginning to end.
Because anything after half an hour is more of a class or lecture than a talk.
Yeah, and it was so well done because you never got bored. James, oh man, see what I mean? Like there were people who were literally like lifting my spirits so much. So after that first day, we had a group of like 40 people hanging out that night, all just like having a beer together and just hanging out, talking. Like we were up until like 12 o'clock at night, 1 a.m, hanging out.
Was it all just the speakers or were there attendees?
So there was 2 different scenarios, right? So one is like in the hotel lobby. There was a restaurant right there with an open, a bar, not an open bar, but there was a bar out
and a very
restaurant.
Controversial Starbucks.
Very controversial Starbucks. There was a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys out front smoking cigars. Like, so there's all these different like cliques that you could go and hang out with. Right. And I mean, you remember when I went to Steubenville, I want everyone hanging out, having fun. Like,
right. Yeah.
I wasn't letting people go to bed.
That's who you are.
Yeah, like I did everything I could to make sure anybody that wanted to hang out was having fun. Like I was buying rounds of drinks for people. I'm like stop it!
Now we know where all that conference speaking money went.
I spent a lot of it, but it was just such a great time. And then on Friday night, I get a text from Father Laval, and he says, "Come up to my room, bring a glass." And I'm like, okay. And I don't know what I'm getting into. I go up there and I'm in this room. It's John Henry Weston, 6 or 7 priests. Father Altman's up there. Kennedy Hall's in there. And it's like, I'm the guy who would have paid to go to the conference, right? Like I would have gone as an attendee. And somehow I get this opportunity.
Yeah, you'd been planning it for the last 6 months.
So, and now somehow I get this opportunity to not just attend, but be in the inner circle, where I'm being invited up to Father's room to have a nightcap with like 10 of the most brilliant people I've ever spoken to. Yeah. What? The term nightcap? Is that you?
Just the way you said that,
What is a nightcap? Is it a night cappuccino?
No. Nightcap is just a drink of alcohol before.
A cocktail. Okay, a cocktail. Okay, so, a nightcap, like capping off the night. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, let me just tell you something. Father Von Trecco, do you remember him?
So I had never heard of him until this weekend. I looked him up, and it turns out he was actually in Minneapolis. I'm from that area, so I can't believe I never heard of him.
Okay, so
but he was ordinariate, right?
Ordinariate. Okay.
Because when I saw who excommunicated him, I'm like, Lopez. I'm like, oh, he must have been ordinariate.
So now he is, first off, he's such a great, like he's so smart and like just a deep thinker, so soft spoken. He got excommunicated for speaking out about the council. So he gave a homily.
This was back in 2019.
2019, before the madness. And he the talk gets published by the Remnant,
which is right there in Minneapolis, St. Paul too. So
if you've never heard this talk, just Google Father Von Traco and listen to this homily. It's a 25-minute homily, 30-minute homily. It is so profound and so accurate, and it's I keep hitting buttons, dude. We gotta figure this out. So Father Level is an expert in all things drink related. So he starts explaining to. So I'm thinking he came into the ordinariate, right? And I'm assuming he says like the Anglican, like the High Church Anglican Missal. He goes into explaining to me why even the Anglican Missal is like an abomination. Really? He's like, dude, we have to get him on because you really have to hear how he's just so much smarter than me. Look, I have my thing that I'm good at, like I have my little avenue where I excel. Yeah. But when you sit down and you talk to guys who are really great in their field at other things, and you get to learn something, like it's an amazing experience. So now we're up in this room with these 10 guys, and I'm not even supposed to be there because who am I? I'm some dummy with a podcast. And
you're the guy that pushes his way in everywhere.
Everything, Rob. When I tell you, listen to me. I'm the fan who made himself like. I'm like, no. You don't have a choice. I'm here. Like I forced people to be my best friend. They didn't have a clue who I was.
Trust me, I know.
That's literally how we're friends.
I had no choice in the matter.
It's amazing. So I go in and I'm seeing guys that so John Henry Weston was so funny because we're all outside. This was Thursday night, the first night I get there. Now, so I get there Thursday morning and I'm like one of the first people there. We're having a single white female in the Catholic world. Indecent, what is it? Fatal Attraction, right? So what Anthony is great at is taking deep Catholic theology and breaking it down. I think that is what I'm good at. Like taking it a very deep concept and dumbing it down for the common layman.
I like how he puts into there, it's not fake and gay.
I was fanboying all over Twitter. It was so bad. So, all right. So listen. So I'm out front. It's me, Kennedy, Eric Sammons, and about 10 people watching me, Eric, and Kennedy have a conversation. Right? Because you usually get that. You'll get 3 guys having a conversation, and then there's a lot of people just sitting and listening to the conversation. We're talking.
I think they were just trying to understand what you and Kennedy were saying to each other,
dude.
Between his Canadian accent and your accent.
Kennedy Hall is my boy, bro. I cannot tell you that kid.
Your mom. Mrs. Abate. That is amazing.
Okay, so listen, let me tell this. Everybody stop commenting. Listen, so I'm talking to Eric and Kennedy, and there's 10 people listening, and I see John Henry Weston inside by the bar speaking with probably big donors or something, Yeah. So he comes down from the room and I see him inside and I'm like, all right, that's John Henry Weston. I'm like, I'm not letting him go upstairs. I'm like, he's coming out. I open the door. I go, John Henry, come on out. Come on out. And I force him to come out. He hung with the riffraff. When I tell you this man hung out with the riffraff, he was so awesome, man. There were some speakers, they have Catholic celebrity status. So they shy away from it because they don't, they're not, I'm not saying anything negative. It gets to be a bit much. I mean, you go to a conference like that, 40, 50 people.
When literally everyone there at the conference knows you.
There's something so special about the position I was in because I was not known. So I was able to enjoy both aspects. I was able to go as a person looking forward to going, and I was able to be a part of the upper echelon because I was asked to speak. It was a weird, dude. I had such a fun time. So I get John Henry out. He comes out and he's just slumming it with us. I couldn't believe.
I love how you're including Kennedy and Eric in this.
Well, because Kennedy's just a regular dude, right? Yeah. He is. I know he's big, but he's just a regular dude. So but John, I mean, dude, there's levels of Jesse Romero is he's a big name in this arena,
I knew about him before my reversion,
let's put it this way. Jesse Romero comes with his wife to every one of these things, which I think is amazing. Right. So like, he does this with his wife because he's on speaking tours constantly. So he comes with his wife. Everybody's there watching the conference. The bus boy who's clearing the table comes over to Jesse Romero speaking Spanish to, like, he didn't care about anybody else. He just wanted to meet Jesse Romero because Jesse Romero, bilingual, he's in both communities. Like, the bus boy knew Jesse Romero. And I looked over and I saw that and it was like, that's so awesome. Like, that's amazing. Now, the thing that stinks about Jesse bringing his wife is he goes up to the room at the end of the night because he's with his wife, you know, and it's all men hanging out. So it's like, I kind of wished we would have got a chance to pull Jesse because Jesse will hang with us. I know he would. All right. So that night I go up to Father Laval's room and we have that conversation. Now, when I get up in Father Laval's room, I take command of the room and I treat it like I'm interviewing on Avoiding Babylon. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Like, I get up there.
This is why I need to go with you next time. That way I have the camera recording this stuff.
That would have been, dude, if somebody would have recorded the conversations up in Father Laval's room, like, they would go viral. They were amazing conversations. I get John Henry Weston. I'm like, John Henry, I've been watching you for 20 years. I'm like, I don't know anything about your story. Like, when do you come into the church? I'm like, he mentioned something about his wife not being Catholic, like his wife before her reversion. I'm like, so I first asked him about his wife's conversion. Mm-hmm. And it's, dude, miracles happen to convert his wife. His wife has legit locutions. Like, unbelievable things happen. So
what you're saying is we have to get him on the show for that.
You have, I'm not going to talk to John Henry about LifeSite. I want to talk to John Henry about this conversion story that he tells us, but starts with his wife. And then he starts telling us his conversion story. We were on the edge of our seats. Like, what are you kidding me? He was messing around with the Chinese mafia, bro. Like, you can't imagine
the triad,
dude. He has to tell the story. I don't know what I'm just telling you. The man has one of the most amazing conversion stories I've ever heard. Like, just so interesting. He starts LifeSite before his wife converts. Like,
I'm going to end up with both the Italian mob and the triad.
So, like, I go up, and now there's a Scottish priest up there that I could barely understand, but I want to hear his story so
we
bad.
all feel that way listening to you every
I keep saying what to him, right? He's like, don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I don't know what the hell you're saying. I'm like, tell me. I'm like, I don't understand what that word is. What are you saying right now? I'm like, this is so interesting, but I need to know what you're saying. So I have his contact info. Then there's a priest who, dude, this guy.
Do you think he's gonna text in an accent like that guy on Twitter? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, he tweets in a Scottish accent.
But he's not.
Like, he actually writes it out like as a Scotsman. So, and he's from America. That's the best part. So, Father Dunn. Okay, perfect. Yes, Father Dunn. He was so good. Like, but it was hard to understand. So I just kept saying what. I'm like, wait, stop. You have to repeat that again, please. I don't understand. He's like, he's like, you think you can't understand me? I can't understand you. So, then there's another priest who's doing the rosary meditations, and he is this sweet Texan wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay, so he was the one with the cowboy hat in the picture?
Cowboy hat and clerics. Everything I say to him, he goes,
should I pull up your Twitter, like, photo feed over the last few days to show people?
I guess you can. Just the photos. Just go to media, right?
Right, yeah. There's a lot on your Twitter I don't want to show people. The priest that is wearing the cowboy hat, I met so many priests that I forgot so many of their names. Like, I really feel terrible that I don't remember their names because I spent real time with these men, but there was so many. Like, I met Father Navarro. I met Father Von Treco was an easy one to remember because I knew him from Father
before.
Who?
Not Father Navarro, different Father Navarro. Yeah. Okay, so cowboy hat all the way on the right. Okay,
here's the rosary meditation.
Right. Now you have Father Altman next to him.
Yep.
Kennedy Hall, Father Von Treco.
So that's Von Treco, okay.
Correct. And then you have Father Dave Nix.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you something about Father Dave Nix, too. Actually, while my mom's in the chat, all right, pop out of that picture for a sec. I'm going to tell you guys a story because I called my mom after the talk, and I'm telling her, like, Mom, I really think everybody loved it. I'm like, a lot of people are coming up and telling me that, and my mom right away just says, Anthony, you have to watch the Pride. Like right away, that's her main concern, right? And she's right. Like you really do. You you have to be so careful because it's not worth getting the biggest podcast in the world if you lose your soul. Like you so really true. Do. You have to really think about that.
Yeah, so true.
So like my head was
that's my role. I
you keep me humble. That's true. So like you do start getting a little puffed up when people are telling you like how great the talk was and it's like you start to get a little puffed up. So yeah. I had something I wanted to go to confession for, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna wait until I leave the conference. I'm spending time with these men. Like I don't want the, you don't want to go to confession to a priest and then he knows your sins and you really think.
Let's all be honest. We're all more comfortable usually going to confession outside of our home parish.
Outside of our own parish, behind a screen, right? Like you don't want the priest, right? So I go, not only am I going to go to a priest I know, I'm going to go to a priest I really know. And I'm going to go to a priest who I want to like, and like I want this priest to admire me, even. I mean, if you're being honest, like I want to impress him. And I just said, I'm obviously not going to say what I said in there, but I just went to Father Dave Nix as an act of humiliation to like just knock me down a peg. And it was really difficult. Like that's not, I don't know, man, that was really hard to go to him. But my mom was right. Like you really have to be super careful about this stuff because I've seen it happen with guys where they get big and then like there was one person I'm not going to say who, obviously. There was one person I was less than impressed with, not because of their content or anything, but how they were
comported themselves after.
Yeah, they, it was just like, I hope I never get like that. Like I always want to be.
I'm sure Eric was just tired. I mean, he's an older guy.
Oh, he's just an old grouch, dude. It has nothing to do with humility. He's just an old grouchy man. Yeah. We went to dinner and I get
so grouchy.
He's such a great guy, dude. He is so funny because he wants to play it off like he's this miserable grouch, but he is just such a good man. We went out to dinner and we get to the table and they're all trying to figure out what to order. And the waitress comes over and she's like, "You guys want an appetizer for the table?" And they're all like, no, I think we got. I said, "Give me that man. Get over here." I'm like, "Bring out a plate of burrata for us." I'm like, and then when the dinner main meal comes out, I want this cream corn with bacon. I'm like, yeah, there you go. It's burrata. So burrata is mozzarella cheese with heirloom tomatoes and creamed mozzarella in the middle. These men had never tried that. It was so
looks like balsamic
glaze on top. Like, dude. So I take a picture of it. And Eric's like, "What are you, a foodie?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to bring this up on the show, though." We have to talk about
you're going to go put it on your Instagram? That's what my wife says every time I take a picture.
I'm not. I see people guessing in the comments, and I will never say publicly. It's and there was nothing wrong with the. I'm not. Listen, I'm just saying it. Like I loved. Nothing impressed me more than seeing a John Henry Weston come and hang out with the riffraff. Michael Hichborn hanging with the riffraff. I'll tell you one thing though. You know who's a total introvert is Dr. Kwasniewski, right? So
I can see that.
Like a total introvert. So like he gave his talk and then he's just sitting at a table selling his books. Like he doesn't want, even when it's really noisy, like he doesn't like the noise. Yeah. So I'm talking to Michael Hichborn and this is exactly at the moment, right? So I'm talking to Michael Hichborn and Dr. Kwasniewski comes over to get a cocktail. And I'm like, no, let me get a few. So he drinks a Manhattan and we're just talking. We're talking about something really great. And he's like, "Hey, do you guys mind just coming over to the table with me?" Like like he couldn't handle the noise. It was too much for him, So like it had nothing to do with pride or anything. You could just tell he's not comfortable in a situation like that. Like some people are just like that, right?
I'm generally like that. I can do it for a night, but I'd rather not.
So Dr. Kwasniewski, Dr. Kwasniewski, and Michael Hichborn and I all were talking, and see, Eric nerds out. Oh, like he was the only person Eric wanted a picture with. I was like, Anthony, can you take a picture of me and Peter? Like, Eric, I'm the one you need the picture with. Like, what do you want a picture with this guy for? No, I'm kidding. We are going to get Peter on.
I'm reading one of his books right now.
I read his book on the Eucharist.
I'm reading the
Silence,
Reclaiming the Roman Rite.
Oh, Reclaiming the Roman Rite.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll read that too, and we will interview him about that book. How about that?
Oh, dude, it's fire. It's
okay, so I will get that book too, and we'll interview him about that book. Because he's not going to come on for a typical Anthony and Rob shit show. You know, like we can't do that. We need to. I'm telling you, he's he's a legit melancholic, but he's brilliant, like a computer brilliant. You know, and so at first he was very standoffish with me. And the way I got him in was Joshua Charles, because Joshua Charles is friends with him. Okay. So I tried to start a conversation with him a few times, and he was like, "Oh yeah," but like I could see he wasn't interested. Like I don't want to say it like in any way disparaging him. I just could tell he's not
his temperament.
Yes, it's his temperament. It had nothing to do with anything else. So I'm talking to Michael Hichborn. He comes over. I buy him a drink. So now that I buy him a drink, he's like, okay, I'll talk with you, you know. So I'm like, all right, we'll walk over by the book stand, you know. And I said, Dr. Kwasniewski, we actually have a friend in common, Joshua Charles. He goes, oh, you know Joshua, and right away he warmed up to me, and I start talking to him about Josh's work, and it was just such a great in, you know. Yeah. And it turns out Joshua also is friends with Michael Hichborn. Joshua's friends with everybody, dude.
Being a White House speechwriter, I mean, yeah.
He is friends with, but he has like real friendships with everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So I go up to my room and I called him and I'm like, listen to me. I'm like, your ears have to be ringing. I'm using your name to make friends with people that would have no business being friends with me. Like I'm just throwing his name around to get in there. So let's see. I say he sounds more like an introvert than more of an introvert than my husband. I didn't know that was. Oh, he is. Like when whose speech was my favorite? Ooh,
one of your tweets said that Dr. K's was the highlight, but
that day probably during that point, right? Like there was something because he just goes so deep. He just goes so deep, but there was one or two that like I jumped out of my seat. You want to know who was amazing? Janet Smith.
Okay, I don't know much about her.
Janet Smith and even Abby Johnson, bro. Right? Like, so we go there to see, and I'm thinking Abby Johnson. I don't remember my speech, Don. Like, no joke, I don't remember it. Like, I don't know how I delivered it. I'm gonna be shocked when I watch the video of it. It was kind of like just like a rush that went by. So, okay. So Abby Johnson gets up. We're all thinking you're going to get your typical abortion speech. I almost didn't go to the talk.
Like, I don't know. This was she opened the whole conference, right?
The whole conference, dude. I almost didn't go to the talk. I'm like, I don't know, Abby Johnson talking about abortion. Dude, she's coming to, like, it's just so crazy to see the people that are like why is Abby Johnson speaking at the Canceled Priest Coalition? Abby Johnson was the EWTN, like the queen of EWTN. I mean, she, you know, the book, the
whole movie,
everything, right? Like she was their darling. And me and Kennedy are sitting there listening to this talk, and he keeps looking over at me. He's like, can you believe this? Dude, COVID sent her, like, she is based now, dude. Like, she's like, I got canceled for reading Catholic doctrine. Like, she's literally reading documents from the church, and she's not allowed on EWTN anymore. She can't speak at parishes anymore. She goes, you want to know why I'm at this coalition for canceled priests? Because I can't talk anywhere else, and they're the only ones that'll have me. Like, and when these kinds of things happen to people, like, that's when you start seeing, like, this is we're not under normal circumstances, right? Like,
right.
Like these aren't normal times. Like if anything, this whole conference,
It's not
was
business
just,
as usual.
bro, like you're hearing just how bad things are. And what's so crazy is you're hearing how bad things are, and you come out of it energized and refreshed, and you made hopeful because you're seeing other people are not blind to it. You have camaraderie with other people. I came out of this thing so rejuvenated, like so excited for the faith, so ready to go to battle with my fellow Catholics. I'm like, I can't wait for next year if they do this again. Like I will be its biggest promoter. I had such an amazing time at this thing.
Is Kennedy's beard real?
Oh, it's real, dude. He is so. So I've never been to another conference, right? So we're up in Father Laval's room last night, and Kennedy stands up and he goes, "Gentlemen, can I raise my glass to something?" He goes, "I was at the Catholic Identity Conference, a few months back."
Yep.
He said, and I don't want this to be he wasn't trying to disparage the CIC at all. That wasn't his point. His point was like it was very political. A lot of it had to do, it almost sounded like neocon politics a little bit, right? Like it was definitely the faith, but it was way more political in nature. Like because we were dealing with the end of the pandemic and all that stuff. So, but this one, because it wasn't just the talks, it was that we're all spending this time together, having a cocktail together and talking together. I mean, I hung out with, listen, I've had so many blowouts with David L. Gray over the death penalty online. And then I meet the man in person. He's a gentleman. Like I'm telling you, I love David L. Gray. Like he was
the picture real quick.
He was such a good guy. I had such a great time with him. Like,
so quick comment here.
Yeah.
Just this is gonna sound not great.
Okay.
Just from this angle, he looks a little bit like Dave Chappelle, right?
Because you saw me put the picture up. Stop it. He looks like the Dave Chappelle in the bit where he's wearing the Klan. Yeah, he's wearing the Klan thing. So you want to know what's funny about David L. Gray?
Huh.
We all know his position on the death penalty, right? So he gives his whole talk, and like the same day, John Henry Weston gets up and he's like, and then Pope Francis changes the catechism, and it's the first domino to fall. And I look over at David, I go, yeah, you think? I had such a great time with him, man. There wasn't one person there that I didn't have a good time with, man. I made sure anybody that would talk with me, I spoke with. Like I spent time with them and hung out with them. Our table, like my specific table, wow, mind blowing, the Masons. So let me tell you something. I was even with David L. Gray. I'm going, another Freemason talk.
Right.
He blew my mind. He's a great speaker, and it was just like. There were so many of the talks that I thought were just going to be generic, and they weren't, right? Like the abortion talk, and it blew me away. And David L. Gray with Freemasons, and it blew me away. Michael Hichborn was great. Matthew Plays gave a talk on fasting that was really great. I'm trying to think which one actually got me out of my seat where I jumped out of my... Well, first of all, John Henry Weston and Jesse Romero by far were rightfully so the keynote speakers for each night. John Henry Weston,
you could give him any subject to talk about, and they
Jesse Romero
into something amazing.
Jesse Romero knows how to give a talk, man.
Like, just look at this.
Yeah, like he knows how to give a talk, man. He was like, people were jumping out of their seats clapping mid speech, right? But Janet Smith, man. So Janet Smith, she was only supposed to have 30 minutes.
What was her talk on?
The bishops and just her. Dude, she talked about why we're in the situation we're in, like showing how the bishops is a gay club. It's a gay club, and you just keep elevating.
Well, the two bishops that visited Strickland are both McCarrick's nephews. So,
okay, so let's talk about Strickland. Oh, that's another thing, right? So,
Right.
I am a social butterfly. I just like people to have fun, man. Like I really wanted everybody to. I wanted to make sure everyone at that conference had a fun time.
Where is the one? I swear you took a picture.
I might not have been on mine. It might have been.
Oh, you're right.
John Henry Weston. Go to John Henry Weston's or go to Kennedy's.
Was it Kennedy? I think it was Kennedy.
Go to Kennedy's.
The John Henry Weston and them all standing up when. Yep, here it is. Oh.
Okay, so now at this point, we just find out.
Is Doug Barry in camo and jeans?
Doug Barry is a man's man, and when I saw him get up in jeans and a t-shirt, I was like,
yes,
yeah, I'm not wearing a suit once this weekend. Let's go.
Suit staying in the suitcase.
Yo, I had that suit in the suitcase. I never put it on once. Because Father Lavo tells me, he's like, you got to wear a suit when you give the speech, and you got to wear a suit to dinner. I'm like, okay, so I bring my suit. When I saw Doug Barry in a t-shirt, and somebody comes up to me after, they were like, they made like a joke to me, like you know, I know you say you don't belong on this, you know, but you do belong on this conference, but you're not Doug Barry, so you should have been in a suit, you know, like you haven't acquired the level of success that you can claim your own wardrobe, in other words, right? So
that's funny.
So they get up and we find out about Bishop Strickland. Listen to me. This is why I'm telling you, you guys have nothing to worry about with Strickland. It's not going anywhere. Like it would be too big of a headache for them. Way too big of a headache. Like when I tell you Bishop Strickland, like John Henry Weston calls him America's bishop because he is America's bishop, because he's the only one that would fly to LA to protest the Dodgers. He's the only one who speaks up on pro-life stuff. He's the only one who speaks up on anything. So and it's like wherever the issue is in the country, you hear from Bishop Strickland and he says something. He's like the last moral voice in America, right? You get rid of a guy like him, like he'll be at the canceled priest conference next year. They don't want that. That would be a watershed moment for so many people in the church that are still playing the everything's fine with Francis game. Like you just can't play that game. Look, and the reason he got the apostolic visitation isn't because he's talking about these issues. He got it because he wrote that tweet about I reject Francis's plan to undermine the faith. You know, that's why he got it. I mean, he got, you know, he should have been more careful than that, probably, but who cares? Like you know, I mean, so
it's the truth. So
it's the truth, right? So it's like, and people that are going to try and say that he's not trying to do that, it's like, come on, like, are we still pretending? Like, I don't like playing. And
you're right. It's whether you're trad or conservative or whatever. Like, we all feel like we'd go into battle with him because we all know he would with us. Like, if something crazy were to happen in my diocese, I have more confidence he would show up to do something than my own bishop would.
Joe Diodati says that he's endorsing the new Jim Caviezel movie. That might be why. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. You guys think the trad community is small, right? We're only 2% of the church, they say, right? Like the trad community is small. Do you want to know what community is small? The Francis fans. Like, really think about what I'm telling you. Like, there are people who endure Francis and don't say anything. But the faction that actually likes the man is not liked. There's not. I mean, you're talking to
most of the people that like Francis, they're not the Catholics that are that are at mass anyways.
So. They're not going to mass on Sunday. They're the people who don't care about their faith. But not even that. Just listen. Mike Lewis runs where Peter is, right? Like he runs that outfit. That would be like analogous to 1 Peter 5 when Steve Skojek ran it. Like they, you know, he's the one on the left and Skojak's on the right. Skojek had like 25,000 subs on his YouTube channel. Mike Lewis has 700. Like we're better than Mike Lewis.
1 Peter 5 or not 1 Peter 5.
Where Peter has 700 subscribers. We are bigger than that. There is no market for this content.
That's because their market's literally like dying as we speak.
Which market? That market?
Yeah.
There's nobody cares about it. Nobody wants to hear. Look, there are those who want to undermine the church and are just leftists, right? They don't care about the church. They're not listening to what Pope Francis said.
You know, they're too busy at their pride marches.
Exactly. Like they don't, like it's not like there's people who love Francis and love what he's doing because he's great for the church. It's just they don't exist. You think we're small? We're not small. We have momentum. Listen to me. The FBI wouldn't be spying on us if we were really no threat. Like, we are a threat. You guys really have, like, that was a great thing to hear from me. Like, it's like, guys, that means we're making a mark. They're worried. But if you get a guy like Strickland, now you have those trads that they're so worrisome they have the FBI in. Plus, you're getting your normie conservative Novus Ordo.
One stat that's thrown around a lot in kind of the Second Amendment, like Gadsden flag, libertarian sort of community is 3%. That, like, during the Revolutionary War, only 3% of Americans fought against the British, right?
Yeah,
and the whole idea is that it takes only a small number, like, actively fighting to really change something. So, they say trads are 2%, but really, if you're looking at, like, mass going Catholics,
I'm listening. So I just gotta grab something. Go ahead.
If you're looking at mass going Catholics, we're probably more like 20%. But and we cause enough headache for the Francis crew as it is. Imagine that if you added all the conservative normie Catholics to that, because you do something to Strickland.
Strickland transcends the trad conservative normie type thing. Like,
he did his first TLM like 2 years ago under COVID, but I mean, he's really a Novus Ordo.
He's a Novus Ordo bishop, but he speaks out for the moral teachings of the church. So he gets love from the trads, that's not a regular thing, where he really does transcend that whole division that you had. And I'm not saying he's going to unite the clans. I'm just saying the pushback they'll get, it's not going to be like when Francis restricts the TLM.
Right.
You're going to get what they had at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah. How do you deal with with a bunch of pissed off conservative Catholics when you can't put them in a liturgical ghetto somewhere?
Exactly. Like, we're being put to concentration camps. Like, they can't do that with the regular, typical Novus Ordo Catholic, right? And the thing is, who's paying attention to what's going on in the church? It's your typical conservative Novus Ordo Catholic who listens to EWTN, relevant radio, all that, right? So when Doug Barry and Jesse Romero, these guys are with that arena, right?
They're
like, that's their realm. Like,
they kind of cross that bridge a little.
Yeah, they're not trads. I mean, we love those guys, but they're not trads. So it's like, if they're getting up and they're like fired up over there, and they were like, "We got your back, Bishop," like everybody was like, "Yeah, let's go." Like, so if those guys are feeling that way and they're going to cause a stink, you're going to get that from Raymond Arroyo, and you're going to get that whole crew. Everyone will be up in arms. They're not going to cause that big of a stir to their mission. So there's no chance something's happening to Strickland. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. So when I see Mike Lewis like all excited, it's like, oh, finally, something's going to be done about Strickland. You're insane. This isn't some bishop in Puerto Rico that all the other bishops in Puerto Rico want him gone anyway. You're talking about Bishop Strickland, and you're not going to get him because he wrote a tweet.
Yeah, how many, middle of the road, small time bishops you've never heard of in the U.S. will finally like stand up and say something if they do something to Strickland? Right? Because Strickland's one of those bishops, but we all know about him because he has stood up and said something.
I agree with this statement with all my heart. It is not. It's just not. And when you see that this whole weekend was just so refreshing to know that, like, even your Jesse Romero's,
Nick, you got to put no homo on the end of those.
Even your Jesse Romero's, Doug Barry's, and Abby Johnsons have had enough, right? And Janet Smith has had enough. And it's like, because you have them on the same panel that you have a Dr. Kwasniewski, on the same panel that you have a Kennedy Hall.
Right. Yeah, these people were sitting there listening to Kennedy give a defense of Lefebvre.
Dude,
right?
Not just give a defense of Lefebvre. I've never had any particular felt drawn to Lefebvre because I'm not a society guy, right? Like I'll go if it's that or a Novus Ordo, I'll go like I do. I go once a month. Kennedy made me like love Lefebvre.
Yeah, it's weird. I've never been to a society mass or even inside one of their chapels, but there's just something about Lefebvre where I don't know. I do have a devotion to him.
Dude, he talked about
reading his.
He has a
have you ever read his letter to a confused Catholic? To confused Catholics?
Kennedy loves Lefebvre like I love Padre Pio.
Yeah.
Like he does. It's his patron saint. You know what I mean? So it's like he laid it out, and he's like, at the foot of the cross, you have John the Apostle, Our Lady of Mary Magdalene. John the Apostle, he's a bishop, but he's not the Pope. Where's the Pope? The Pope just 3 times denied Christ. Where are the other bishops? They ran and hid.
One was hanging from a tree.
One killed himself. You got one left. And this is what he said. And he lays it out like typologic. You know me with typology. I'm like, oh my goodness.
So what you're saying is, are we going to get Kennedy on to discuss this?
Yeah, man. Listen to me. And first off, I'm so mad I went after Kennedy. Oh, I went before Kennedy. I'm sorry. I'm mad I went before Kennedy because I didn't want to go first, right? Like I called Father Lava. I'm like, I don't care when I go, just please don't make me go first. And he didn't. He said he let me go at 1:30. I went after Eric Sammons, which is so funny. Listen, you want to really get it under Eric's skin? Say, Eric, I was looking through the program. There's a picture of Anthony, but there's no picture of you. They didn't even put Eric's picture in the program.
Give him a headshot?
He opened for me. He was so mad.
Oh.
It was obviously a mistake. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? But like, he comes up to me, he goes, Anthony, let's get this over with now. I'm like, what? He goes, I see your picture, but where's my picture? I'm like, I don't know.
He knew if you had looked, you would have brought it up. So
if I noticed 100%, I would have wrote him. So, dude, my opening joke, I delivered my opening joke that I sent you because you told me it would land.
I saw the video.
It killed. Yeah, like, it got a big laugh. I'm like, my opening joke, I tried on Rob and Kennedy first, and they both told me it was hilarious.
It was good.
But I was expecting Eric to, like, take a shot at me because he went right before me. And he asked me before he goes on, he goes, how do you pronounce your last name? Abadi, right? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, I hope he goes at me because I got a good one geared up, you know? But it was gentle enough. Like it was, it was a silly joke. It was,
it was good natured. It was fun.
But it did get a big laugh, and getting that laugh is what calmed me. Like knowing, like, all right, I got the room. I can hear. This is an easy crowd. They're not like a stiff, uptight crowd. I thought I was gonna say it and nobody laughed. I would have been like, guys, that's an Eric Sammons' old joke. Like, do I have to explain these? Like, are you guys that slow? Wake up, guys. Let's go. Come on. I'm really happy I didn't have to do that. Yeah. So it's like. But Kennedy got up, man, and if I would have gone after him, though, the way he commands the stage is like, dude, he is.
You're saying you would have used some.
I would have been more like Kennedy, dude. He got up and he was like I saw him beforehand, and he looked like he was like really.
He's like I imagine he's like a football coach giving a halftime speech.
Dude, it was like he was like. Fire and brimstone energy, man. Like he was just like he has a commanding presence.
Yeah,
he just does. He's a man, dude. Like he just has a commanding presence. And so after Kennedy gives his speech, somebody came up to both of us, and they were like, it was a priest. A priest came up to both of us, and the priest said, I just want to talk to both of you and just say that like it's really great to see 2 young men, real men.
Oh, I bet you loved being called young.
Well, compared to the priests we were. You know. But Kennedy's younger than me. Kennedy's like 35.
He's my age.
Yeah, he's 35 or something. So, it's like the older priest said, he was like, it's just so refreshing to see 2 young men like really just taking the faith so serious. Dude, you got to realize most of these conferences, there's a lot of old people there, right? Like they're all retired. They have the time and the money to go. So it's not a matter of that. But there were a decent amount of young people there. At my table, it's me, Eric. No, I'm sorry. It was me. Eric was there the first day. No, he wasn't. I'm sorry. Me, Kennedy, Trevor, and his father.
Yeah.
And there was this other couple there. They were an older couple. They were so sweet and nice and hung out with us until late in the night. Like
so they interspersed the speakers between the audience.
Oh yeah.
That's
we
cool.
all sat in the main conference room with
That's
them.
Cool.
So like the speakers were usually at the front row tables, like the first set of tables. So I was at table 4. You know, Eric was probably at table 3. It was like we were right up near the stage. So, but it was really like there were a decent amount of young people there. Like I met a guy named Jim Vogel while I was there, and Kennedy knew him. I was
going to say that name sounds okay. Is he the Angelus Press. He works with Angelus Press,
I
right?
think so. He's somebody. Jim Vogel. He's my age. He's literally my age. He's 40.
Nick, if you're listening, I'm sure you know who is Jim Vogel to this to the society. I've heard of him, but
so in my age, right? The only other real cigarette smoker at the whole conference. Me and him are like sneaking out smoking butts together. I developed a genuine friendship with this kid. Like genuine friendship with him. And
yeah, Nick knows.
he's SSPX Angeles Press Media. Okay. What an awesome friend. Like just an awesome friend, dude. Like it was basically the whole trip was Kennedy brought his friend Al with him. His friend Al was awesome also. So it was pretty much Kennedy and Al and me and Jim. It was like the four of us spent the whole weekend together. So I invited Jim to come to PA with us. He lives in PA.
Cool. Oh, nice.
So I invited him to come. Like he was just a great guy. Like I had such a good time with him. I don't know. He was like, anytime I go outside, like I want to go out and have a cigarette, and I look outside, and I'm like, oh, Jim's out there. Let's go, bro. Like, yo. At one point, I texted him like, yo, did you eat yet? I'm like, let's go grab breakfast together. He was just such a great guy, dude. I met real friends at this thing. It was such a fun time. I'm telling you, if they do this thing again, you guys have to save up your money, and I know people complaining about it being expensive. This would have been worth every dollar if I had to pay to go.
First off, I mean, $350 got you VIP for the weekend?
That's it?
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm pretty sure that was it. And that was like last minute tickets. I think if you had bought them like 8 months ago, I think it was like $200. I mean, dude, there is no other conference you're getting for that price. Father Level said TIC was what, $1,400?
That's what I mean.
Or something like that.
Easily.
No.
That's nuts. Like, how do you complain? Like, I don't, you know what? It's people who are, it's the Novus Ordo bitter Catholics who are mad that these priests have found a way to be supported. They want them to just crawl into
they'd rather have Father Level still serving at the Capitol Grill.
Dude, you have to really think about that. Like, these are men who gave their lives to Jesus Christ, said something true, and got in trouble and lost their faculties. Like, those men don't deserve support.
And I don't mean to like say this in a clericalist sort of way, but like, how screwed up is it that someone who served at the altar in persona Christi had to be a server at a restaurant for years because he was canceled by his bishop for saying something, slightly traditional under Benedict.
Too orthodox. He said something too orthodox. Let me tell you something. So the priest with the cowboy hat, right? This man was just so great. Like
Father Clay Hunt, I think they said, right?
Father Level is the world's best bartender.
Well, yeah, he had to be, like, for his job.
So listen, he the priest with the cowboy hat, what was his name?
I think they said Father Clay Hunt.
Okay, so
sounds like someone who would wear a cowboy hat.
I would say something like talking about like I was talking to him about my kids, telling him my son is getting older now and he's actually able to grasp these concepts and stuff. Praise God, my friend. Praise God. Like, he was just so gentle and amazing. And I'm like, how did you get canceled? Anthony, he was doing like prison ministry, and he's working down on the border in Texas, in prisons where illegal aliens are crossing the border and getting in trouble and doing terrible, and he's ministering to these prisoners.
Yeah.
Now his bishop, after Francis comes out and it's the Donald Trump era and they're all going crazy about the border, like, he stood up and like he just said, like, I can't go along with this. Like, this just isn't true. You're trying to say that America is evil and we're not. Like, we are good to these people. You have to hear him say, I'm trying to do his impression, but he was just so gentle. He's like, Anthony, I love these people. Like, I was ministering to them. Like, don't tell me like that. He's like, don't, like, America treats people better than anywhere in the world. He goes, it's like, you do it.
Or do you want to,
like,
okay.
He was just getting like, he's like, I just couldn't lie. Like, he wanted me to lie. My bishop wanted me to lie. And the bishop pulled him aside and said, you are going to obey me. He goes, and I will obey you, but I can't lie. And the
right,
bishop,
because a bishop, they can't demand they can't command sin. And that's what lying is.
Connor said it's a good impression. The guy was this is exactly what he said. Praise God. Anthony, praise God. And he's like so great because he'd have like a cocktail and you can see he's a little like it was the end of the night, 1 a.m.
He's just chill and relax.
He was just so awesome. I don't know, man. Like I want to go and hang out with those men again. Like these aren't, dude. It's like you're hanging out with masculine priests. They were not effeminate in any way. These aren't gay men. Like these were men. Mm-hmm. It was so refreshing to be around masculine priests,
which is so rare these days when it shouldn't be.
Trevor said I was a good impression of him.
Oh, Trevor. By the way, anyone who doesn't know, Trevor does have the Tridentine merch store up and running. So I believe it's tridentinebrewing.store. So they have all their awesome tin tacker signs on there for purchase and stuff like that.
I'm going to get Father Hunt on because I love that man. Like I spent real time with him. Probably more than most of the other guys. Like me and him, especially last night, I spent about an hour just me and him talking outside. I got him to smoke a cigarette. I was like, just come outside. Come have a cigarette with me. Stuck one in his hand and he hung out and smoked with me. I just had such a good time with men. It was just so good. Michelle, did you come up and talk to me while we were there? I know you met Trevor, but I'm sure we did, right? Like anybody that came up and talked to me, I was like, come on, let's hang. Come on. Like I just wanted to like hang out with people. I was so excited to just be around other Catholics who love the church and love the faith. And it was just such a great time, man. I'm like so mad it's over. Why didn't you come over and say hello?
Probably because you're loud and like intimidating.
Probably intimidating. Because he had the store. Yeah, he was set up with all his merch stuff. A lot of people did like pull me aside though. A lot of people did do it, and they were just doing it to encourage me. Like they were, dude. They were so kind to me. Everybody was so good to me, man. Treated me like I was important, and I wasn't. And I was an attendee like everybody else. I just happened to talk for 25 minutes on stage.
I'm excited to watch you talk. I am.
I'm interested to watch it just to see, like, because you have your own perception of how you think it went, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a drink before I went up to calm my nerves. Right before I did one shot because I was nervous, dude. Don't listen to me. When I talk,
I saw a video of you like pacing right before going up. I'm like, oh man, he is nervous.
Nervous, dude. Like, listen, the last time I spoke publicly was my cousin Eddie's wedding. And I get up, and all I have to do is read Ephesians 5. Husbands, wives be subject to your husbands. Husbands only beat your wife with a stick and not a hammer. Like, that's all I got to do is read that. To read that passage.
Was that the joke you tried to make?
Oh, I'm just saying. So I get up, and I just have to read Ephesians 5. I get up, and I had to clear my throat, and I couldn't clear my throat because I didn't want to cough into the microphone.
So you have to go joking.
My voice cracks, and it's like, dude, my stomach, I get butterfly, and now like it's accelerated. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and I'm like, I'm ready to pass out because I just have to get through this reading, and I can't speak. It was so bad. Eddie's got the video. I would die if it ever got released. Like I would, but I would do it just to show you guys why I have a fear of public speaking, and we would show that one and then compare it to this because
you need to put me in touch with Eddie.
I'll get it. I really will. I'll get it because I'd want to see it. Like I don't mind throwing myself under the bus. Cue music, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy. Listen. So now I have this in the backdrop, right? Like this is in the back of my head. Like this is the last time I spoke. I go up but you want to know why I was able to do it? Because of what we do.
Yeah.
Because of what we do. So the first few interviews I did, you watched my first interview with Tim Flanders. Dude, it's bad. Like I'm like really nervous. I'm sweating like crazy. I mean, I'm sweating now, but it's just hot down here. I was a nervous wreck doing that first interview. It's like, you're getting on camera and you're going to talk. Like, if anybody understood how nerve-wracking it is when you start a podcast, right? But you didn't have it because you had a partner, though, right from the start. Like right. It was a lot. It's a lot easier to go on when you have somebody there. That's why I was right from the beginning. I was like, I need somebody. I can't do this.
Right, because like this right now, it literally just feels like I'm talking to you.
Just me and you having a conversation.
Right, exactly.
That's it. Right. So, and we've always had that feeling on our show. Like we've never been professional. We always wanted it to just feel like just two friends having a conversation.
We've never been professional.
No,
100% true.
No, like never. I don't think we ever will. I don't think people, they would think it was weird.
It would be weird. It wouldn't be us.
It would be weird. Right. So even Eric Salmon said, he was like, when Connor asked him how my talk went, he was on Connor's show.
If you ever want to see a nervous Nick Cavazos,
my first was with Matt Fratt with 3,000 people, dude. Holy cow. But at the same time, though, you had other people there to speak. Like, you didn't have to fill all the time up. Like, and Nick, you're super smart, man. Like, you had
Anthony's got nothing to fall back on.
Yeah.
He's just a high school dropout, as he said first thing in his speech.
And the thing is, if you're alone, you don't have somebody to riff with. Like, I'm good at like making fun of myself with somebody. You can't make fun of yourself to yourself. Like, there has to be somebody there to laugh at you being an idiot, you know? The
worst videos to make are like those School of Jesus Crucified videos I did when it's just me.
You hate talking. Them, right?
Like, I literally put something up on screen for me to look at so I didn't have to see myself.
See your own face.
Yeah.
They're weird. I hate being on screen alone. It's like it's a weird narcissistic thing for me. I don't know. I don't like it. Like, I just don't like it. I don't know. Like, I'll probably do one solo show this week because you're not going to be able to stream every day with me. And Nicole's not home. So I'll stream every day. But the thing is, when I at least have a live audience to interact with now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, those first few shows I did, it was just me. I actually read written stuff. Like, I wrote my first few podcasts out. Those first few episodes, I literally wrote them out. That's insane. I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I thought that would be good. I can't believe I thought that would. I can't believe I did that, and that we actually have a decent show now. Like,
I remember being one of the 3 or 4 people in the live chat just making fun of you while you did it.
Dude, I can't believe I ever thought that would catch on. It was terrible. Listen, I really think like this show hit its groove with trivia, like, because we were developing our friendship at the time. Like, we were getting used to each other and figuring out like what we could get away with, what we could tease each other about. Like, when you don't know somebody, you don't know how far you can push the line and what you could get away with. Like, those first few episodes when you booted me off the screen.
Oh my gosh,
dude! I never laughed so hard in my life. Like, you just threw me off the screen.
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
My show threw me off.
Oh man,
what a good time, man. Holy cow. We got to do another one of these conferences because I just love being around other people, man. Like, it's just rejuvenating to me. I feel great. I'm ready to conquer the week now. Like, it was what
other ones are there?
So I met this guy. Okay, so I hung out with him last night. So he was helping Dr. Kwasniewski sell books, and I'm like, dude, just come and hang out. And we went outside. He never had a dirty martini. I'm like, I bought him a dirty martini. And we just hung and talked. It was me, him, Kennedy, and Jim Vogel, and Al. And just the 5 of us. That's what I mean. It was like, just to sit and listen to this. We're sitting there talking, the 5 of us, and all of a sudden a car goes by. There's a girl, door wide open, screaming her. Like, we may have witnessed a woman get kidnapped last night. No joke.
I can't believe you've waited an hour to tell us a story.
I forgot about it until Keith just jumped in. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Oh, you had one before. It was somebody else never had one before. It was, Kennedy. Kennedy never had one. So he took a sip of mine and he liked it and he wound up getting one. So, dude, we literally witnessed a girl get kidnapped. Dude, this guy, Keith, he's a big guy. He's like your size, jumps up and runs after the car. And I'm like, what? I'm from New York, dude. You hear women screaming all the time, ready to jump out of a car, right? Like, I'm like, dude, he jumped out. He ran and chased the car down. We called the cops. The cops came. Like, we literally, and Keith just everybody just stopped. And we just started praying for the girl. Like we all just together just started praying for her. Like, please God, don't let anything
What
happen.
the heck?
And keep praying for the guy kidnapping her. Keith, you were a good man. Very
You
good.
guys check the Chicago news to see
We should.
what might have come from that.
We really should. Like, we really should check, because I'm telling you that
I will not attend another Steubenville conference. No. No. Never.
Dude, we would take
I've had
over that
enough
conference.
beach balls during
We would
Mass.
literally unplug the sound equipment and just start playing chant. We'd change that whole place's environment. Ugh.
I'd be up for like yeah, I'd be up for doing something like that at the Steubenville conference.
Yeah, you gotta go in. You gotta. What do we call it? Infiltrate. You gotta go in and infiltrate.
Infiltration, trad style.
Tom says, would a kidnapping even make the news in Chicago?
No, probably not.
Well, it was the outskirts of Chicago. It was like Illinois. It wasn't technically Chicago, but
It was like Illinois. Yeah, well,
I know-
Chicago is in Illinois, so
Chicago is in Illinois, but not Illinois is not in Chicago. Like Illinois, outskirts of Chicago. Oh wait, no, yeah, like not. It wasn't like South Side. Is all I'm saying.
okay.
I don't actually like praise and worship music, Caitlin. That's a gag.
No, Sharon, the one I attended was for my it was our confirmation retreat. And it definitely contributed to me being away from the faith for 10 years.
So yeah, Rosemont is the suburbs, and Illinois is a state. Chicago is a city inside of Illinois.
Yes, I
Rob just likes
understand
to mess
that.
with me. Like, I know I said it right, and he just likes to mess with me.
Oh,
So
that's funny.
Michelle is southwest side of. So my wife went to school in Chicago when we were dating. So my wife went to the Art Institute, which is like a very prestigious art school. Look at you guys, 80 people. So my wife went to a very prestigious art. It was like the top art school in the country. And we were 18, like right out of high school. She went. We were dating, and I used to fly into O'Hare like twice a month. So like she went away. We didn't see each other for like 3 months, and I was debating, like, am I going to stay with this girl?
Are we sure this just wasn't the New York family checking up on the Chicago family?
I don't have any family in Chicago. I got family in Montreal.
No, I mean the mom. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I got family up in Montreal. So if Kennedy gets out of line, I can still get to him. Just telling you. You don't know the mob ties up in Montreal, bro. It's a lot. But anyway, I told Kennedy that once. He didn't want to come on the show when you first met him. I'm like, bro, I know people up there. You don't want to mess around. So she goes away to school, and for like maybe 2 months, so she went away in September, and I don't see her for all September, October, November 1st. I'm like, I have to go see her.
Mm-hmm.
When I went out and saw her that first time, like, I remember kissing her that first time after not seeing her for 2 months, and I was like, okay, I'm married.
Earmuffs,
That
children.
was like that was like it. I was like, I know I'm marrying her. Okay. So she started making plans to come back, and not. So she only did like one semester in or a year. She did a full year in Chicago, and then she came home and went to the art. She went to SVA in Manhattan. I'm Canadian, and no joke, we have a maple syrup mafia. Look at it. I believe it. You want to know what it is? Is a lot of people got in trouble in New York and escaped
I do.
to
I
Canada.
suppose that makes sense.
So there's a lot of mobsters up in Montreal. But okay, so now tomorrow is Monday. I'm going to try to get conference speakers on all week. So I spoke to Michael Hichborn earlier, texted him earlier. He's going to come on. I'll figure out what day with him. I want to get John Henry Weston on. I want to get, this guy. I wasn't even Catholic. Like, I was Catholic, but I wasn't taking my faith seriously back then at all. Like, faith wasn't even like on the registry at that point. I'm going to put a list together, and I'll tell everybody what guests we're going to get on. We're going to get a lot of people on. We're going to have all the people I enjoyed talking to and meeting over there. We're going to get on here. So some of them were better. Like, you're going to see. We got some exciting stuff coming up. And then on Tuesday, we actually have Daniel O'Connor coming on.
Oh, that's right. That is this Tuesday.
We're doing aliens and AI on Tuesday with Daniel O'Connor. He has a book coming out, and I really think he has an interesting take on it. So for anybody that's new, we don't only talk to trads. We have a charismatic coming on Tuesday, and I will talk to anybody I find interesting. Like, I'm not somebody who thinks like if you go to the Novus Ordo, there's a problem. Like that's what you have. That's what you have, and I don't care if you believe the faith and you're an Orthodox Catholic. You're my brother or sister. So what is that?
Enoch's dad jokes.
It sounds sweet. What do y'all do when you get into this? Dude, I hate it when you
Enoch.
Enoch, I love you, brother. What are you doing? Enoch. Wait. I talked to Jesse Romero. When I talked to Jesse Romero, I go, Jesse, Enoch is like telling me I have to talk to you. So you were my in with Jesse Romero while I was there. I used Enoch as an excuse to get Jesse. I'm like, Jesse, you got to come on with me. I tried to get Doug Barry. He was a little standoffish.
Doug Barry was?
A little standoffish. And he wasn't
because you weren't in camo. If you had put on camo, he would have been.
He's just, dude, everybody wants to talk to him. He's like, you gotta, I hope no matter how big this show ever gets, we never like think we're Catholic celebrities. There's no such thing as a Catholic celebrity. He's just a Catholic. Like you happen to talk on us.
Unless you're a celebrity who happens to be Catholic.
Yes, that's not like Jim
Mel
Caviezel's
Gibson,
a Catholic celebrity.
Jim
like,
Caviezel.
The rest of us are just Catholics, dude. Like, stop it. You're not that important. You put a microphone in front of your face.
Have you not noticed your name the last 2 episodes?
No, I haven't. New niche Catholic celebrity. I got it. You're the worst. Doug Barry does Catholic prepping of soul. Yeah, I love Doug Barry. I want to get him on. So especially because here's how I approached him. I didn't want to bother him. Like I didn't want to bother him because I saw him getting mobbed. So before he went on stage, I said, Doug, I just got to say something to you real quick when you get off stage. So what I did was I wrote down on the paper the Danielic Mystery, episode 1, Avoiding Babylon, my name, my email. And as he got off, I said, Doug, I know a million people bothering you. We featured your show on our show. We played clips from your show on our show. Mm-hmm. If you watch the show, I promise you will want to talk to me. Just here's the
Sean,
info.
He's Grace Force.
Right? Yeah. Grace Force. So the thing is, if he has the humility to watch the thing I told him to, I know he'll want to talk to us. I mean, we featured clips of his show in our show, and it was a very good show. So, also, anybody who's new, go back and watch the Danielic Mystery series we did. Danielic Mystery in the Book of Ephesians.
It's like Anthony's talk, except
way more. So it's 2 episodes, 3 hours long, and I condensed that into 25 minutes with leaving so much important stuff out. So if you did enjoy my talk, you will love these episodes. So it's the Danielic Mystery in the Book of Ephesians, 2-part series, and then follow it up.
If you're feeling adventurous, then watch the episode with Joshua Charles.
So, and also go back and just watch our interviews. Our interviews are great. Like, I'm not patting myself on the back. We happen to get very interesting people. Our Gavin Ashton interview is still, I still think that's one of the greatest interviews. And the great thing is, like, some of these older shows are starting to get a little bit of traction because we do have a lot of new people coming in. So I'm seeing, like, even just like typical episodes are starting to hit over 1,000 views now, like just regulars, which that never happened before, you know?
So we know everyone wants Father Ripperger, but legit, he is booked out 2 to 3 years in advance.
Don't worry about Father Ripperger.
Oh no,
we're getting Father Wolf.
See, I'm not familiar with Father Wolf, and I know
Rob. What hole do you live in? Like, when are you gonna get out from underneath this rock? It's important you know these people now. You need to do this. You need to research these people. Listen, so Father Philip Wolf.
It'd be different, except you've given me a list. Like,
I know, I have. I've overburdened you, and you have an infant, a newborn. So, all right. So now, Father Wolf. Okay, so my talk that I gave, that's amazing. I love that Father Isaac got you guys here because he was another great interview we did. Yeah, we interviewed Father Isaac. Go watch that one. So,
that was a good one.
In the talk I give, I quote Father Wolf's End Times talk in the beginning of it. And I actually say, so this is Cornelius a Lapide that Father Wolf gave this talk. And I give like this little section from the apocalypse, but I mentioned Father Wolf at the beginning. So after the talk is over, a woman came up to me and she said, Anthony, I'm friends with Father Wolf. And I wrote the same thing. I wrote all our information down and I said, Danielic Mystery, if he watches this, please tell him I would love to talk to him. I would never put him on the spot. If he wants to tell me there's rules to it, that's fine. But just tell him, here's my info, this is my phone number. If there's any chance in the world he'll come on with me, I would greatly appreciate it. So you never know. There's a possibility. I got a line out in the water. Crazier things have happened on this show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true.
Crazier things have happened on this show. The Father Isaac one was pretty crazy.
Oh, that was a good one, man.
Just
We're gonna get him back on.
Like we just kept talking about, like we want Father Isaac, and Daniel from Spirit Juice TV was like, "I know him." I was like, "No way, let's go."
We forgot the Spirit Too Sad.
I'm gonna get so Father Shannon Collins. I have his contact info. Me and him exchanged information. I'm going to try and get him on. Now he lives in Scotland, so we're gonna have to do that one on a Saturday. So that might. So
he's the one that you couldn't understand.
Yeah, I couldn't understand a word he said. He's hard to understand. He's like, when I say Scottish accent, like not Braveheart Scottish. Like I'm talking like.
When you were saying that earlier, I'm thinking, I bet Anthony thought Braveheart was what Scots sound like.
No, dude, like that's like you can understand. You can't understand what this guy says, man. It's wild.
So how if I wanted to watch Father Wolf,
if you want to just look up Father Wolf sermons, there's an E at the end of his name, WOLFE. Father Wolf sermons. You will get a playlist on Sensus Fidelium of Father Wolf conferences. Now, if you want to listen to the most amazing conference you've ever heard in your life, it's 16 episodes and it's called Our Lady of Revelation. Okay, it is a 16-part series. They're an hour each, and he lays out it changed my life, this conference. It was like a 4-day conference. He did 4 hours per day.
That's exactly what Robert's saying here.
Right. Our Lady of Revelation is a life-changing series. So if you guys are going on a long car ride and you're taking a road trip and you want something to listen to, I promise you will be mad when your road trip is over that you didn't get to finish it. Like that's how good it is. It is out of this world. I may listen to it again. Like it was that good. He was FSSP. I think that his father was sick and he had to take care of his father, and that's why he's no longer at. That's the word on the street. I don't know if that's the real thing, but I'll tell you right now, the talk that I heard, it might be the reason he got in trouble, which is the one that I quoted at the beginning of my talk. Like that might have gotten him in trouble because he talks pretty, Does Anthony listen to podcasts in his work? Absolutely.
Constantly.
Yeah. I've listened to one of your episodes. I checked out one of her episodes. I think the first one. Right? She has a YouTube channel now? It's like Susan.
Yeah, by the way, everyone go check out her YouTube channel and TikTok if you are into TikTok.
Connor's asking if I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, really exhausted. Like, I've been...
Do you work this week?
I have work tomorrow in Staten Island. On top of that, I'm like, oh man, I'm so tired. I don't want to go to. I don't want to go, but I have to. So I slept very little this weekend because I was up until like 1 or 2 a.m. every night and getting up at 7. He's still FSSP, but he's in headquarters for now. Well, I know he was caring for his sick father. I don't know exactly what his deal is. I'm only going by what his friend told me. So, all right, man, let's wrap this one up. This is a good one. Hope everybody shares it.
Fun.
Yeah, and then so Tuesday's Daniel O'Connor, and expect surprise shows this week. Like, there's going to be some surprise shows because I'm going to do everything I can to get some of the men that I spoke to this weekend on our show.
Man, I don't want to miss.
Well, if I get somebody good, you're coming on. Like, I don't care. Hope's just gonna have to if it's somebody good, you're coming on.
Yeah, try to schedule the good ones. Well, I'm sure they're all good, but I mean.
No, if I go on alone, you don't have to come on. But if I get a guest, you're coming on. Like,
okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. But
when you say that, I hope you mean like you'll schedule it for when I'm available, not you'll guilt me into coming on.
I'll talk to Hope. Don't worry about it. Tons of other surprise shows if we expect them. I'm going on every night this week. Rob will be on it minimum Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Wednesday too. He'll come on. We'll see. I'll try to set it up or Friday, Wednesday or Friday. I'll try to slip a good one. Hope's listening. Oh man,
yeah, she's listening.
I didn't know she was listening. We'll get her a treat. Don't worry about it. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna go upstairs and get some sleep.
Okay. Wait, did you see this?
Father Rick Heilman, who does Grace Force with Doug, kind of got canceled. He did, yeah. His bishop just moved him from his parish. There were lots of newspaper hippies. Yeah, so Doug mentioned that. Doug mentioned that. He didn't get into detail, but Doug said, I know a little bit of something about canceled priests. Because, I mean, look, if you're a priest and you're speaking the truth, you're going to get in trouble. It's just the situation we're in now. So, like, I don't care when that kid Nick on Twitter tells me those priests should be like Padre
Fidelis
Pio.
Padre or whatever. Yeah.
They should be like Padre Pio and they should shut up and just live a life in a hermitry. No, they're not. They're not being told that. They're being told go work at the Capitol Grill
or go to this mental institution.
Yeah,
you know, like there's some.
The St. Luke stories are horrible.
So I don't often tell people to go watch Church Militant, but when the coalition for canceled priests first formed, I mean, it's only been two years, right? I mean, this conference was on the anniversary. Mm-hmm. So when the coalition was first formed, they did all the priests that were involved did a show on Church Militant about their backgrounds, what got them in trouble, what they were asked to do, and like it is some crazy and evil, like truly evil stuff. So
yeah. Listen, here's the thing. It's like, how do you not support these men? If you don't support these men, you won't get other priests willing to risk their neck.
Yeah.
Like, do you want cowards for priests? Because that's what you're going to get. Unless a priest says, okay, they'll have my back. Like, they'll have my back. I could go and speak the truth. Like, we need our priests to be courageous, and they need to have a place because the bishops hold money over their livelihood over their heads. Like, these are men who gave their lives to Christ, go to join the seminary, take vows, get ordained, and then they're told they're not allowed to preach the gospel. Like, think about how evil that is.
In centuries past, the laity have always given shelter to priests, whether it was during Roman persecution, whether it was against Elizabeth in England. We have always sheltered our priests from people trying to cancel them, trying to kill them, trying to whatever, and we have to do it again. And this time it just happens to be against our own church. They
need a security blanket. Like, they need to know that, okay, if I stick my neck out here to stand up for the faith, is there an organization that has my back? Like, that has to exist.
Yeah.
Like, that has to exist. Like, this is not anything like the Padre Pio thing. And Steve Cunningham annoys me when he says it is. Like, he keeps saying that. Like, this is the difference in promises and vows. These men do not take vows of obedience like a monk does. People
need to realize that. They do not take a vow of obedience.
You're talking about men getting canceled because they wanted to continue to give the sacraments during COVID. Like, you're not going to give that. You're not going to back that man up. Seriously, you're not going to support that man. Are you kidding me? I have nothing but the highest respect for Father Laval.
Yeah, he's just getting to know him a little from doing the show, because we've done 2 or 3 shows with him now. I mean, he at first when he was on trivia, at the end of that, I'm like, I don't think he likes us.
Because he's got that Chicago brash.
He's got attitude. That Chicago
when I tell you,
sense of humor.
When I tell you, he's introducing me to people saying you have to listen to Anthony's show. Like, he's like really like I have nothing but the highest respect for that man. I spent time with him this weekend. Like, don't tell me who he is. I know who he is. I hung out with him. Like, I saw and the guy is running a conference. He's got all these things going on, and he was joyful the whole time. He lost his voice because he had so much stuff going on, barely sleeping, hanging out with a little riffraff until 1 a.m, waking up at 5 a.m. the same ass. Like, don't tell me, like, you guys don't. I don't care what anybody says to me. I know I did the right thing going to this because I had to pray about it, right? Like, I wasn't 100% sure. I'm like, am I doing? I've never been more confident that I did the right thing than I am now. I cannot wait for the next one. This has nothing to do with me. Like, these priests need support. The priests I met this weekend, so unbelievable, man. And I want my priest at my parish to know if you speak out against the demonic things that are happening in the world, you got a place you could go, and we'll help support you and we'll have you back. Like, that's what this is. This isn't guys who went and broke vows of chastity. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're not like, that's not even close to what this is. These are men who said something true or did something orthodox and lost their faculties.
If I remember right, some of the men that this supports, like, they were seminarians and wanted to just learn things about tradition, or they were seminarians and knew of other seminarians like hooking up together, homosexually, and said something, and that's why they got canceled. So
yeah, I was like, when I see people online saying like they should just stop looking for the spot. Like, I have no respect for you. You don't know anything. You don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I don't care if that's your opinion. I don't know. You're in a different world than I am.
Yeah, not every opinion is valid.
Yeah. Like, you're not even paying it. The only way these people can function in the world they're in is by pretending things aren't what they are. Like, I'm not going to pretend a man in a dress is a woman, and I'm not going to pretend the church is in good shape. I'm not going to pretend Francis is a good pope. I'm not going to pretend any of it. I won't lie. Like, I'm just not going to pretend.
Yeah, it's like Alexander. I always have trouble pronouncing his last name. Solzhenitsyn says, "Live not by lies."
Yeah, live not by lies. Like, I'm just not playing pretend. It's the same thing as when they try to tell you that dude's a woman. No, it's not. No. And the priest that keeps his head down and doesn't say anything isn't a good priest. Maybe he is. Maybe he just hasn't gotten the spotlight, but whatever. It's like, there are good parish priests still. I didn't mean to say that, obviously. But if courage is demanded, I want my priest to have courage, and I don't want him to back down and bow to the bishop if he doesn't have to. Like,
because the time's coming, like, priests and all Catholics are going to have to either stand up or give up the faith. That's the choice that we're going to be given.
You'll be asked to pinch incense to Caesar too. So will I. So will everybody listening to this. It's just what happens. Everybody will eventually be asked to pinch incense to Caesar, and it's all about what you'll do when you're asked.
Yeah. And 3 years ago was a trial run.
Yep. 100%.
And too many people failed.
All right. Let's wrap this up. That was a good one.
Yeah. Good show.
All right, guys. Later.
Yep.